are the things that contribute to inflammation? And what can we do about them? Can we do anything? So the first one is sweets, sugar, carbohydrates. Those things are one of the leading causes of cardiovascular death, inflammation in our body, cancer, and even neurodegenerative disease. I don't make a big deal about it, but some people even call Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because there's a problem with sugar metabolism in the brain. So among the things I'll be talking about and suggesting is that when we want to reduce inflammation, we reduce our intake of sweets. Stress has its negative impact on our survival. And stress results in the release of cortisol, an inflammatory marker or something that's related to the fight or flight mechanism that all animals in the animal kingdom have. And it has very favorable effects acutely, like when you're being attacked by a lion and you need to run away. But if you're constantly stressed and constantly have that cortisol and adrenaline spike, it causes high blood pressure, stiffening of blood vessels, and that process I showed on that slide. So sweat. Sweat or exercise. If you've noticed there's a trend here, they all begin with the letter S. So I'm trying to make it easy for everybody. 5 items, all begin with the letter S. So sweat or absence of sweat is hazardous and it causes inflammation. When we exercise, it's a natural anti-inflammatory compound that gets released. There's release of endorphins, another substance that most people have heard about, which is like a pleasure hormone. It's like your own manufactured morphine. You get your own little high. The thing about endorphins is they're addicting, but I think the addiction only lasts for 3 days. So I make sure to get to the gym within 3 days of my last exercise so I don't lose my addiction. Unfortunately, we have an opioid crisis in this country, and the opioid addiction lasts forever. So the anti-inflammatory, euphoric effect from exercise is very desirable. It has its anti-inflammatory effect. Sleep. There's been a huge influx of information about the importance of sleep that researchers found. During the process of sleep, we rid our brains of byproducts and toxins that are released during the course of the day in the process of thinking. And laying down and getting your 7 or 8 hours of sleep is a process where you can filter out those bad substances from your brain and reduce inflammation that happens in your brain. It's my belief that some of the process in the development of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease is related to sleep and inflammation in the brain. Sex is really about intimacy, but it's also about friendship. It's about having people around you in your lives. It's about having family. It's about having fellow residents in a building. It's about having mahjong partners and golf partners and people you play cards with. By the way, the opposite of intimacy is loneliness. And if you read anything in the news, loneliness is making big headlines. And big headlines because it's a severe and serious problem. And it's running at epidemic proportions in this country. And we think that for one reason or another that it's affecting baby boomers, of which some of us are baby boomers and some are pre-baby boomers. It's also affecting the millennial generation and particularly Gen X people. I think it's because they use their cell phones too much and they lose social integration that's really important in their lives. And so it's sort of another and burgeoning epidemic. But sex and the process of intimate relationships and just having friends and doing things together also releases those pleasure hormones and reduces the stress hormones that occur in life. So having those relationships are also important. And equally important with that is having a companion who says to you, hey, you got a cough, go to the doctor. So someone who can also help take care of you and help relieve the pressures that happen as you age.